time to talk about Sabia's favorite person in the world.
That's not my favorite.
Me?
He's also a fucking Leo. August
hate
5th, I
Leos.
think. Like Curious and Sabius.
I
Just
hate
because you're
Leos.
Leo don't mean
Y'all disown him?
We of the Leo delegation would like to give up Umar Johnson.
look, he has some things that I'm like, okay, that there's some truth to it, but then he says a lot of shit that I'm just like, you're pandering to the modernized woman these days. You're not saying anything, and he sounds very hypocritical. That's all I'm saying.
Well, this should be fun.
Regret showing up for work.
I know you're gonna go.
I'm gonna crack you. I want you to finish.
Now,
I'm gonna crack him.
now,
I want you to finish.
No, you're not.
I promise you.
Because you're bunny hopping. Listen.
I know.
Video
The reason
is so soft, but I hear
you should not be with her.
I want you to finish your
I'm going
point.
to finish. I'm going to finish.
The video is a steal.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Crack
This
your
where I
muffin
was.
too. Go ahead.
The reason
That's Ish, one of Joe Budden's co-hosts. He can be heard telling Dr. Umar Johnson, I'm about to crack you in the muffin, essentially saying, I'm about to destroy you intellectually with my rebuttal, which gives us a sneak peek into his agenda going into the podcast, which was, I'm going to show up Dr. Umar, opposed to I'm going to have a conversation with Dr. Umar, which to me is a big mistake. Arguing with Dr. Umar Johnson about social economics and Black issues is like arguing with a 3-year-old about how to properly eat boogers. You see, you may have the right argument. You may be correct and he may be wrong, but he just knows too much about the issues to really have a conversation or a debate with, because you're not spending every waking day of your life researching these issues, right? Just like I'm not spending every living day of my life trying to find a good boogers to eat, so a 3-year-old would probably beat me in a debate on it. So Ish, sometimes during this podcast, bro, just appeared lost.
I think everything is based on greed. I think everything is based on
That's Itch talking, not Dr. Umar, for all you listening.
superiority and trying to maintain that
based
level.
on greed and superiority.
It's not supposed to be, and it don't have to be. But I think
There is no capitalism without exploitation. Exploitation is the heart and soul of capitalism.
And we're living in a hyper-capitalized
capitalist
society right now.
Capital.
Right against Ish.
No, it's not. That's not the premise behind it.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not, but it's okay.
Watch yourself,
I think that's how it's implemented today. But what I'm saying is this, and that's been since the beginning of time.
Gotcha.
Mansa Musa was the richest Black man to ever grace the
And
face
he
of
was
the
not
earth.
a capitalist.
You out your
He
mind.
was not a
Yes,
capitalist.
he was.
500 on talking points I never researched, studied, or had to fundamentally back up or structure.
I'm not an expert, but Mansa Musa was an African, like, emperor, I want to say. I want to say maybe 1300s. He ruled, like, I can't remember which country, Ghana or something maybe. But anyway, capitalism is not an African term. It didn't exist in Mansa Musa's timeline. Capitalism didn't start until, the term didn't even exist until 1800 or something like that. So Mansa Musa is not a capitalist because that term, what defined capitalist, didn't exist when Mansa Musa was alive. So Dr. Umar would be right in that situation.
Well, you still can have, you can be, you know, if you you can't say somebody wasn't domestically violent because domestic violence, the term didn't exist in the 1300s. You know what I mean? Like, you still like we've described what you are and this is what you are, like, type deal.
Well, I agree with that, but domestic violence isn't a system. Capitalism is. So I would say capitalism, that system did not exist.
Okay.
All right,
That's
y'all
like
care
saying,
more about,
oh, sorry.
Bring to
y'all care more about capitalist or capitalism? Because the definitions are slightly different.
I would say either. It fits for both. Capitalist
Yeah,
or capitalism.
I want to know, was he a
didn't
capitalist
exist.
first? I want to hear
All right,
that.
so capitalist by Oxford is a wealthy person who uses money to invest in trade and industry for profit in accordance with the principles of capitalism. So I should have probably went with that one. I didn't finish reading it, to be honest with you. Capitalism is a economic or political system in which a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit.
Well,
So
Sabian
as
said he
long as,
wasn't with the system, so.
I was gonna say, as long as a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owners and they're focused on profit, then it would be capitalism, even if they didn't identify themselves as such.
He just didn't have a system.
From what I was
I
reading, he
disagree.
kind of sounds more like a dictator.
Oh,
Because they're saying Musa was not a capitalist. So how did he get rich? Musa became rich by governing by force vast lands on the continent of Africa while controlling half of the known supplies of salt and gold and controlling the very means of production of those vital resources. So it kind
Yeah.
of sounds like he's dictating by force or not force in certain areas how to make money or what gets divvied out. So kind of I don't know
So
if
he's
it's capitalism.
he's like the Joker. Money is just a byproduct of him.
Well, back then, I think
Yeah.
a lot of the governments kind of worked that way. It was like you just take over an area and then you own everything and you use it however you want. It's not about business. It's not about trade. It's about power.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that would really fall into that. Even though the word didn't exist. Like if he did focus on business and trade, then I would say he could have been a capitalist even though the word didn't exist.
Yeah.
But because he was just like, look, I control all this. This is me. Like, probably not that.
Yeah, I think I am going to lean a little bit towards what Sabius is saying.
Before, but I'm going to bring it up during a debate with Dr. Umar Johnson as if it's facts. And that was a weird thing for him to hang his hat on. Was Mensa Musa a capitalist? Probably not, because I don't know any dictators who would say, you know what? Let's go with capitalism, right? Let's create a vehicle for upward mobilities to where peasants can one day be kings and replace me. Let's create that system. But for some reason, he wouldn't back down from off that Mansa Musa being a capitalist point. And when he was asked to defend his point, he ended up looking stupid because he couldn't defend the ground he stood on.
Yes, he exploited poor black labor.
Dr. Umar,
Prove
yes.
it to me. Prove it to me.
Yes.
Prove it to me.
I can't right now. Yes, you are wrong.
I can prove
you are
real simple.
wrong. You are wrong. He was a huge capitalist.
You're absolutely
maybe the
wrong.
biggest
you
ever.
are absolutely wrong.
You are incorrect.
Capitalism is not an indigenous African economic system, and it did not exist at the time of Mansa
Greed
Musa.
existed prior to Mansa Musa ever gracing the face of the earth.
Greed and capitalism are not the same thing.
You are correct.
Greed and capitalism are not the same thing. You said capitalism. Mansa Musa was not a capitalist, and capitalism did not exist in Africa at that time. Prove it.
You are incorrect.
What is your sauce?
I can't do it right now. I'm not.
Well, when you get time, I'm going to come back so you can prove it.
Here it is.
If you make a claim and you have nothing to defend your claim, you already lost. You can't go into an argument and just make some wild outlandish claim and then be like, I can't prove it now, but later I'm gonna prove it. You already lost.
Well, me and you talked about this at the beginning of the pod, which is in the old files of us doing the podcast, which we will upload at a later time and try to figure out. Right, only on Rumble, but because we don't want to be arrested and banned. But anyway, me and you said in the very beginning that when we agreed, like when you debate me, don't debate me with emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing right now.
Yeah, you can feel however you want, you can think whatever you want, but if you don't have anything supporting your argument, it's a terrible argument. Even if it's true, it's still terrible.
I'll admit to it right there. That snippet sounds. You'll see it on the old things on Rumble, but it sounds like me and Caritas arguing over a point.
Which one is that?
Any of them, or it's just sometimes me or me being passionate about something, and Caritas is like, "Show me the proof. Show me the facts," and I'm like, "It don't matter about the facts." And he's like,
Well, I think I would recall a time when me and Curtis talked about capitalism before, and we didn't agree on the definition of capitalism for one. So I don't even think we ever came to an agreement. I guess we agreed to disagree. So
I hate those.
I don't even remember the argument, but I'm pretty sure I was right.
Of course you would say that. I remember you, Curtis, said something about, you were saying something about it was I remember saying capitalism was like free markets, and you agree with that, but then you added in something about capitalism being like the big man overthrowing the little man, or the big shark eating a little shark, or something like that. And I was like, that's not capitalism.
That doesn't sound like anything else. Like I would possibly say something similar, something along the lines of me, and I don't remember it, but I would probably back something like, in capitalism, big businesses take over little businesses. Now that I would stand behind, but I wouldn't say capitalism is big businesses taking over business, because that's not all it is. It's other things too. But within capitalism, big businesses do eat little businesses. That's kind of how it works.
It sounds like Itch is about to like Flacco say, like he's just willing to down this fucking hill about Mansa Musa.
Yeah, he's gonna die on it too, because he already admitted he has no evidence. He's gonna die on the hill. It's right there.
Let's see.
Send it to you.
The saddest part about this argument or back and forth is that Ish is so incompetent that he didn't even realize the layup that Dr. Umar Johnson gave him. Dr. Umar Johnson asks Ish, did Mansa Musa exploit poor black folks? Yes, he did. Mansa Musa's wealth came from a lot of gold. Well, guess who was mining up them golds, bro? It was poor black slaves was mining up gold for Mansa Musa, which hence made him really wealthy.
Whoa, that looked like Sabius.
Motherfucker.
I was gonna say I have like the same beard as that guy. He looks just
Sabius,
like-
you bastard! No wonder you know the fucking definition. It's almost like you watched this video before.
It's almost like you were the main character in the video.
Look at this motherfucker, looking like Sabius mixed with Mos Def.
He has a nice beard, kind of like mine.
Incompetent and a nincompoop. They didn't even understand enough about Mansa Musa to really make that argument. Which again is, why are you arguing and hanging your hat on this Mansa Musa discussion when you know nothing about Mansa Musa? Now, at points during this podcast, Ish was just really frustrated that Dr. Umar Johnson was running laps around him, that he even stopped the podcast to express his frustrations and tell Dr. Umar Johnson he's dominating the conversation.
We still elected.
Hold on, can I? Go ahead. This is a conversation. Go ahead. You can't just dominate the whole conversation.
I'm not dominating the conversation.
No joke, I thought I was being punked when I was listening to this podcast. Imagine telling a guest that you chased for 2 years to come on your podcast, that you paid to come on your podcast. Imagine telling that guest they're dominating.
So the reason, I don't know if you guys know, the reason why he said that you're paying is because Dr. Umar doesn't do interviews without being paid.
Conversation and talking too much. That's what you got them on the podcast for, to talk. Not for you to try to get your agenda off, bro. It's insane. Now, I don't know what's worse. That or Ish's voice not being respected enough that he was trying to get his questions in or trying to enter the conversation and everybody was just ignoring him.
Let me ask you this.
Nothing.
Let me ask you a question.
White folks don't fight.
Listen to this. Let's say hypothetically.
And why don't you? Because you know what you.
And if you go reach.
The lick up the lips after being ignored is nasty work, bro. It's embarrassing. It's bro. I mean, even a conversation that Ish was supposed to blow Umar Johnson out the water on, because almost everyone would have been on his side, which is interracial dating. He somehow managed to lose that debate by not being articulate enough.
Something just hit me.
Shoot.
Are you mixed race?
No.
Or you a bunny hopper?
Yes.
That's why you have a liberal perspective.
That's not true. That's not
because you go home to a white woman.
Yes, but that's not true. I felt this way before I met my white girlfriend.
So help me understand how you could be so passionate about the black.
I'm passionate.
We at Band in the USA and also Metaphor are bunny hoppers, as we are friends with Mr. Fife. I'm not sure if that qualifies us as bunny hoppers.
Whoa.
I don't think that qualifies.
You have to sleep with the person to be a bunny hopper?
I do not support this message.
Everybody was slowly backed away from everything that was happening. Like,
I haven't slept with Mr. Fife, but I'm not.
I'm gonna cut this part out.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't slept with this dude, as I'm not gay, but I mean, if we having a freak off and he's in a whack off chair, I'm not gonna leave. We're partying, you know what I mean?
for sure.
You're not leaving. You're sitting in a whack-off chair. We already
Yeah, we
discussed
already discussed. You said
That was
sitting
because you had to
whack-off.
choose. You had to choose between fucking in front of somebody or sitting in the
We're
chair
at
with your
a freak
asshole.
off.
I thought me and Sabius were Eiffel Towering the bitch.
No. You
I said,
suggested it. He disagreed.
Carter said he's sitting in the chair watching. Me and Fife agreed that we were being in on action. Like, fuck it. I'm not
It was
sitting in the
it was
chair
basically a 2 for 2 pause because
2 for 2.
you and him agreed on being in the action, and me and Carter said we had to have our own separate whack-off chairs.
And I want to point something out. The reason why I would not want to be in on the action is because as a heterosexual male, I don't like the idea of me being distracted and fucking and some dude watching it happen.
Well, you're not fucking.
Maybe
you are the
you're watching.
Let me
you are the dude watching it.
Maybe they come and try to join in while I'm distracted.
No. That's no deal. No deal. No deal.
I'm safe in the chair. I'm safe in the chair.
No, we didn't agree to that.
Yeah, we didn't. No one agreed to that shit. That was an add-on.
I'm about to say this is a revised contract right here.
That was an add-on.
The chair is a safe space where the bed is danger zone. Anything can happen in the bed, but the chair, your butt is firmly in the chair and safe.
And I want to put it out there, folks. The most me and Cobra have done is eat lunch together.
Yeah.
I have been to his house, but we were just watching videos.
I have to say it slightly differently. The most they've done is eat lunch together.
Well, it was a sub, and it was cylindrical, but it was sliced. It was cut into. No. We not we ain't on no backwards caboose shit over here.
I'm an objective thinker. I don't. If something makes sense,
So you have no loyalty to the black community.
No, I do have. I probably employ more blacks than you.
Okay, so help me understand that you employ more blacks than me, but you go home to a white woman. Why you don't have a black woman?
Because I fell in love with a white woman, not a black.
Why didn't you fall in love with a black
woman?
woman?
I fell in love with a black woman. We broke up.
Okay, and why didn't you fall in love with another black woman?
I did that too. We broke up.
Okay, and why didn't you get another one and another one and another one until you found the right one?
Because I met a white woman that I fell in love with, and that's the person that
and you're being disingenuous about something. And let me tell you what you're being disingenuous about.
True.
Romance is a function of focus and opportunity. If I want to date an Asian, I'm going to put myself around Asian women so I can find one. If I want to date a Latino, I'm going to put myself around Latino women so I can date one. If you wanted to marry a black woman, you would have put yourself around black women so you can find one.
This is a conversation.
I'm not going to lie. If you kick it with anybody from Metaphor, you're liable to be around any one of those races at any given fucking time.
This is the problem with this conversation is they have very different levels of experience when it comes to debating. He's getting destroyed because he doesn't know how to debate. He just agreed with a bunch of stuff he should have never agreed to in the first place. Like Umar was like, "Oh yeah, if you wanted to date an Asian, you would be around Asians." He's like, "Yeah," and if you wanted to date a white girl, you'd be around white people. He's like, "Yeah." That is all untrue. What if I just have a mixed group of friends? They like who just has friends with the people they want to fuck? Like, what are you talking about? Even it's nonsense. It's nonsense.
What's up?
What you about to say, Fife?
Usually my friend group's around people I want to fuck.
All right, Vino. I mean, Cobra. There's a lot of incriminating evidence in this video. There's going to be a lot of editing.
It goes back to the just having lunch.
If you don't know where all of these inside jokes are coming from right now, you need to go to Band in the USA, go to videos, and look up P. Diddy has a whack-off chair. This is where all of these jokes are coming from. Then you would get it. But
I got to get my licks back, man. They roasted me.
You can't say you want licks back.
They roasted me. I got
with this conversation.
God damn it!
I'll be
You're
missing
right.
you.
You're right. Yeah, that's fair.
I agree with Kara to say that on that one. Umar Johnson, like I said, I think he's very hypocritical. He says a lot of stuff that I think is pandering to modern women nowadays. But point blank, it's like what he said. This Ish dude, he is not a debating person. He's not in the field for debating. Umar Johnson, I'll say, is. Although
I'm kind of insulted that you was lost for words on how to describe Ish's lack of ability to debate Dr. Umar, because bitch, in 2008 when I told you that I wanted a quad core Mac computer, your response was, bitch, you don't have the fucking knowledge and the mind to use such a behemoth of a machine. Like the way he spoke to me, I was like, God damn. He's like, bitch, you don't even have the knowledge to use such a fucking machine.
Was he wrong?
No, he was not wrong, but I did learn how to use it though, bitch. Just like I learned how to use everything else.
He's like, I got it anyway, and I learned.
You know, when I asked him to close that part of the conversation, when I asked about it, when he responded like that, it made me look at it more, and I was like, why the fuck do I need all of this? But I think his response, being a younger man at the time, his response made me like, I'm getting this shit. Who the fuck he think he talking to?
Right.
Fuck
Yeah.
who cares? I heard that shit. I'm trying to put on fast.
I'm just trying to slide it in there right quick.
Yeah, I'm trying to slide it.
Where did you slide in? Pause.
I was like, coming from your son, that has to be just disappointing.
Oh shit! Well, my son told me
last
weekend that he carries me, so I'm just used to being disrespected like that by my children.
Disrespectful hoe.
Oh,
Yeah,
bitch.
man. But yeah, Ish doesn't have the ability to go back and forth. I mean, should he? Ish is a recently like 2-year podcaster, and Dr. Umar has. I met Dr. Umar in 2011 with Mike.
But even just because you're a podcaster doesn't make you a debater. Those are two different things.
No, I'm saying that he's only been a podcaster. Ish has only been a podcaster for 2 years. The fucking Dr. Umar has been doing public speakings for like over 2 decades.
Right, but if you've been training to fight for 2 years and then you get in the fight with a professional fighter that's been fighting all their life,
that's what I'm saying.
You are going to get your ass beat.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying,
don't get in the ring. Like, protect yourself.
And then you're dragging in. This was even debated for 2 years. You're talking on a pod, then you're talking combining it with debating. Like, Ish doesn't even sound like he's debated 2 years. So let alone why would you give somebody that debates?
And he drug in a fucking point that he doesn't even understand the matrix of or have all the information about. He like, I'm sure I'm right, and I get back to you. Like, what the fuck? You're supposed to have.
I think he probably does know who Mansa Musa is. He doesn't know what capitalism is, so his argument's just bad to begin with. I think that's where he fucked up.
Sabius and Mr. Fife seem to be the two that was more right on the subject, because Sabius said that, you know, the system wasn't there at the time, and Mr. Fife said from what he's reading, he's more of a dictator. So let's see.
I expected Ish to cook Dr. Umar Johnson in, because one, almost everybody within the population would have been on Ish's side. Like, bro, like me talking to a white girl has nothing to do with my loyalty to the black race. But Ish could have also said, yo, Dr. Umar Johnson, your hero is Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass married a white woman after having a black wife. Well, you don't question his.
Well, I like to say this, and then I'll play the video. Frederick Douglass is his relative, so
his dedication
is Dr. Umar's relative
to, you know, the black race. Why are you questioning my loyalty to the black race? Yes, I've dated black women in the past. I now date a white woman, just like Frederick Douglass was married to a black woman in the past, and now he was married to a white woman up until his death. So does him talking or marrying a white woman take away from his contributions to the black race or his loyalty to black?
Well, Dr. Umar did say that was his only problem with him, so I don't think that was a good point.
Well, it doesn't take he's gonna be entitled to his opinion. If he feels that it doesn't benefit with the black community,
he thinks this dating a white woman and being gay, he doesn't have a problem with white people. He doesn't have a problem with gay people. He just feels like, what is being gay and dating a white woman going to do for the black community? It's useless to him.
Well, see, I can also say the same thing for. Well, my bad. I'll let Karen.
You was about to say something fucked up. Go ahead, Karen.
I wouldn't like. I think knowing when and where to agree to have a debate is everything. Like, I wouldn't even debate that. I would dismiss that entire premise that, like, me dating a white woman, my kids are still black, because if you have any black, you're still black. So my kids are still black. I'm still black. If I'm doing good in the black community, what more would a black woman add to the situation that I'm in? So me dating a black woman that I don't love would be better than me dating a white woman that I do love? What kind of relationship
Well,
am I having with my kid?
one of his points, I don't know if he was there for that pod, but I know Sabius remember. But one of his points was like, look at Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was married to a Latino woman, and now that he's dead, she's not putting in any of that money, that he's gotten over the years for his hard work into the black community. It's only benefiting her. And on surface, he has a good point. But then when you think about it, it's like, motherfucker, I've never benefited off of no black celebrities.
I was just about to say, I'm pretty sure that he dated a black woman, it would be the exact same turnout. Like, if she's rich, she's probably shopping in the ritzy, super nice areas, and her house is in a ritzy, super nice area. Like, none of that money is going to trickle down to the black community either way. So the race that she is has literally nothing to do with whether or not you help the community.
Look at
your actions set that up.
Look at Howard. Look at Howard University. Look how many black celebrities went there. You got Puff Daddy, DJ Envy. It's a long list. If you were to Google it, it's a long list of black celebrities who went to Howard. And every time I turn around, Howard's having financial problems. It's like nobody's donating. The alumni. But go ahead.
Pretty much. No, Curtis pretty much summed up the points that I was going to say. I was like, and what you was saying, Kobe, you was like, you was about to say something, but I stopped myself because I was leaning to the same thing. I was like, date a black woman don't necessarily mean it's going to the community either. Just like Curtis pointed out, a lot of black women, a lot of them, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them, I think it was the African American population is like the largest consumers like race, like in the US. And 9 times out of 10, black women, they buy a bunch of products, Gucci bags, Louis Vuitton stuff. They want all these brand name stuff. That is not benefiting the black community. Most of these products and these things are owned by Europeans and some other community. So where is this stuff that is benefiting the black community?
And to be fair,
way?
Not to pander, but to be fair, black men too, because look, here's the list of Howard, right?
I agree.
Debbie Allen, Layla Anthony, Felicia Rashad, Anthony Anderson, Chad Boseman, Sean Combs, Thurgood Marshall, Kamala Harris, Toni Morrison, Elijah Cummings, Lance Gross, Zara Neale Hurston, Last Alonzo, Lynn Whitfield, Roberta Flack, Roxy. That's more women at the end of the list. Feeding into Sabius.
God is there.
I want to start reading because the rest of it is a whole bunch of women. Damn.
Yeah, so I'm not agreeing with Umar on that one. I mean,
like, if there's a logical argument for why black men should stick with black women, and I hear it, I'll consider it. But as I currently sit, if you're talking about progeny, your kids are still considered black because you're black. As far as what happens to your money and your community, it's gonna go the same way either way.
Yeah.
Most people don't give a shit. Most people are selfish. They're gonna do what's good for them.
Dwayne Wade used to play basketball on Princeton and Shields when me and Sabius is from.
So, like, if you want to help the black community as a black man, ain't got nothing to do with who you date. It has everything to do with what you set up before you die. Like,
right.
If you set some shit up before you die, and you set your money up where unless you invest in this in this business, then you don't have anything. then you have a legacy because they're going to put their effort and energy and time and effort into that to create wealth. And then that wealth will stay in the community. But if you just leave all your houses and your cars and shit to anybody, like say you and your wife die at the same time, your kids are still just going to squander.
I mean, look at it from the other side too. What if let's because the scenarios that we paint is if you this rich black man married to a rich white woman. Look at it from the other side. If I'm married to a rich white woman and she dies before me and I get all the money, am I gonna go into white communities and help they trailer parks and all of that? Fuck no. I'm not gonna do that shit. Just like they not coming to the fucking ghetto to help us out. You know what I mean?
Well, to be honest, you're also not going to help the ghetto. You're not
That's what
helping anybody.
you know what I'm saying.
Like, let's be real. Like, let's be
Also, oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
No, go ahead.
I was just thinking, what if it was the genders were reversed? Like, what if it's a white woman, a white man with a black woman? Does he saying Umar holds the same thing? But I'm just saying, if a white man marries a black woman, does he say to the black woman, "Oh, why'd you marry a white man?"
He
Not
did.
benefiting.
He asked.
Okay,
He asked the old girl. Damn, I forget her name. Where she was made the comment about dating a black bus driver, and he was like, "You don't have no opinion." He was like, "Ain't you swimming in the milk?" And he was like, basically, like you would think like that. You date the fucking white man, so you don't have the right to have any opinion on what
See, the
goes on.
crazy thing about that, like this is the same thing with Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peele, all of them people. It's like you know their stance before you go to talk to them. Why would you go talk to them without a rebuttal? You know he's going to bring it up eventually that you date somebody white. I have my whole shit set up before I even went. I know exactly how I was going to respond to that because you know that's one of his talking points.
Like, yeah, I mean, if you're dating somebody from another race, he just feel like you don't have anything to say about the black community.
I heard him say that before, and I disagree with him with that anyway. But you didn't finish the video, did you?
Nope, I am, but I'm gonna go to the bus driver deal.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's man. Like I said, one of the things, yeah, I don't like.
And I hope to God you wasn't engaged to a white man, because I thought somebody said you was engaged to a white man. Eric Ebony, I better not find out your ass was swimming in the milk. And I hope to God you wasn't engaged to a white man, because I thought somebody said you was engaged to a white man. Eric Ebony, I better not find out your ass was swimming in the milk.
Because
and I hope to God you wasn't engaged to a white
man. Who the fuck cares, honestly? What are you doing?
I was just about to say, I better not find out. That's a veiled threat, bitch. You are nobody.
What she said was pretty harsh. You know what I'm saying?
Sounds like he really does not like the white folk.
Damn, that's okay. That's interesting. Let me hear what you think.
I mean, to go after someone and make a threat, like a threatening remark like that, and refer to it as swimming in the milk.
Because on the flip side, that would be wild to see a white man like, let me find out you diving in the chocolate, and it's like, whoa.
Let me find out you digging in the dirt.
That's kind
whoa.
That's kind of racist. Yeah,
I think a lot of black people. I think a lot of us look over shit like that. That's why I don't allow my black friends to call my white friends white boy, because I'm like, if he call you boy, you gonna have a fucking fit. So don't do that. He a grown ass man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would be pissed if I saw some white guy talking like, man, I better not find out you was digging in the raisins. Like, what the?
That's what I said, digging in the dirt. Like,
I'd be pissed. I'd be like, who the fuck is this punk? You know? All right, let me let the video.
It's absolutely not, right? Well, then you force Umar Johnson to either disparage Frederick Douglass or admit, all right, maybe you are loyal to the black race, right? But he sort of didn't know enough about that, or just didn't have the articulation or the wits.
What's up?
I know for some things people get passes for. But if I were to say oh, I know such and such. I know he's loyal to the white race. Then I'd be labeled a racist.
Mhm.
But
You are labeled a racist at that point, but also
I thought Cole was gonna say something else. Sorry.
no. What you thought I was gonna say? Say it.
I
I
thought you
thought
were
he
gonna
was
say
gonna
something
make a
wild.
joke. Yeah, I thought he was gonna make a joke.
No, you will be labeled racist, but you're talking to somebody who I believe that white people should have their own schools because we got our own schools, and I'm not gonna be one of them black people who bitch and cry about y'all having your own schools. Like, go ahead, have your own schools, teach y'all shit. You know what I'm saying?
Now I disagree with that with the schools,
Why
but
not? We got our own school. We got HBCUs.
they're traditionally owned by European and Caucasian.
But
I
that's
said
like saying
Caucasian.
America. That's like saying America is traditionally owned by white folks, so it should just keep going that way, right?
What it is, HBCU, all it means is that the population of students is predominantly enrolled by Black students or people of color, if you want to say. They do not refuse other people of other races.
I never said that the white people.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just
okay.
saying HBCU, the definition of HBCU. The reason the HBCUs exist is because some of the other traditional, historically Caucasian schools denied access and administration from other people of color. They flat out refused Black people from attending their school. That's racist. HBCUs don't deny other people of color to get into their school. So that's where I think the misconception is. When you say HBCU, they don't deny other people of color. There's white people that attended some HBCUs and have graduated from.
And I get that I get that the reason why they were made, the HBCUs. But now that we over that, if white people would try to have their own college right now, it'll be a whole bunch of black people in the uproar, and it shouldn't be like that because they got their teachings, we got ours. Like me and Mr. Fife, we had it out one day, me, him, and a friend of ours about how Egyptians look. They're teaching them that Egyptians are their fucking complexion or a shade darker. When me and you both know that's bullshit. So if they want to have their own school where they teach that, then you go ahead and have that. Who am I to say I get to hold on to my HBCU while you have nothing? This is how you build resentment. This is how wars get started. Let them have their shit.
I strongly disagree.
Okay, I'm pretty sure a lot of people do.
The reason, like I don't state an opinion unless I have a reason behind it. The reason behind it is the power structure in America and the way it's set up. I don't think, okay, so we have X amount of schools that are predominantly Black. And then if you just, there's already schools that are mostly white just by the areas they're in and stuff like that. If you have schools
Same with Black, go ahead.
Yeah. If you have schools that are just if you start setting a precedent where you can have schools that are just for white people, I could see a lot of communities, a lot of wealthy people, a lot of wealthy communities purposely segregating out their money and their resources into these schools. And we don't have the same type of infrastructure to stop our kids from ending up in the worst of the worst.
More of a reason to do it for me because I don't need them enabling us. More of a reason to do it. Why do we have to depend on somebody else? How you gonna use that somebody else's resources and tell them they can't have it? We got HBCU stands for Historically Black College, and everybody's fine with it. That's our norm, right? If they had a historically white college, I'll have my timeline flooded with Black people who don't even stay in that fucking neighborhood and shouldn't even care. That's my thing. It's not about me pandering. I don't give a fuck. Why do you care?
I don't care.
Yeah.
What
No,
I'm
I'm just
saying
saying,
is,
I'm talking about the person who does care.
if
Why
you
do you care if they teaching them about the Confederate flag and what it means to their fucking heritage and teaching them that fucking Egyptians was fucking light skinned?
if you
So
back
the fuck
up,
what? You got a school that
if you
teaches
back
you
up,
that Jesus is black, that
if
the
you
HBC, I
he
mean that
was.
he was, but
If you back up and look at history, that doesn't end well. Like right now,
Yeah,
I
we're
live
talking
in
segregation again.
yeah. Right now, I live in. I mean, I work
segregation
in.
was good.
Right now, I work in a lot of schools,
When it
and
was equal, I disagree.
and the disparity between inner city poor schools and I won't say any neighborhood specifically, but in wealthy neighborhoods is astronomical. You have high schools in nice neighborhoods that resemble college campuses. And then you have the apex of the inner city school, Kenwood, where they don't even use the school and the library is closed down. It's like those are the discrepancy. Like that's why I hate the fucking equality of opportunity versus the equality of outcomes argument. It's like the disparity between those two fucking things is ridiculous. There is no equality of opportunity when you start us at the fucking bottom and you start way up here.
I
It's
think
a
that's what white
terrible
people
fucking
got over
argument.
black people is their opportunity.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like you set the bar, you set the game, you rig the game from the beginning, from K through 12, you rig the game where wealthy people, I'm not gonna use race because it's obvious what racial terms. You set the you rig the game where wealthy people start way up here and poor people start way down here, and then you say you can all apply for the same job. It's like I didn't have books. What the fuck are you talking about? I didn't have computers. All I had to learn from is my phone while you have a fucking college campus, you have musical instruments you're learning on, you still have shop class, you still have auto mechanics, you have all this shit that you're learning, and I'm learning off my phone because my school doesn't have fucking resources. Get the fuck out of here. Equality of opportunity is just bullshit.
But that's true to a certain extent because then again, me being from Chicago, thinking that way and going to Wisconsin and being around people like Mr. Fife and other friends that I won't mention right now, these guys, they are the white versions of us. We grew up in the hood, they grew up in the trailer park. And they got everything from the mud just like we did. And that's when I started to learn that it's about economics and not about race. You know what I'm saying? The only difference between me and Mr. Fife is the average white person will tense up more towards me than him. But there's reasons that I won't mention right now that the same white person without me being there would tense up at him. And I'm sure Mr. Fife know what I'm talking about. But I'm not gonna throw you under I'm not gonna say that shit right now.
Here's what I'll say. I'll let you guys continue. For one, I didn't grow up in no damn trailer park.
Mm-hmm.
Two, y'all took this really deep, and it's a good conversation to listen to. But all I was getting at was, I don't like the term being a white loyalist as much as I don't like the term being a black loyalist. I think someday we got to get to a point where like it don't matter. We should just help each other. It shouldn't matter who you're fucking loyal to. We should just all help each other. We're all humans.
Mm-hmm.
Life's a lot easier if Sabius has my back and Caritas has Sabius's back, and I have your guys' back, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Will it get to that point? I don't know. But
that's a contained situation, though.
I mean, what Fife is saying is like I agree. I mean, that's the ideal. But when like Cobra said, you said you think the segregation is good.
I'm not saying that.
No, he's saying
Cobra said that.
Mm-hmm.
Cobra said the segregation was good. The problem with that is historically segregation has not been good because it was never equal. The problem with segregation was you had the
equal now?
European. No, it's still not equal. There's so many things that goes against the systems that pretty much every system that is in existence in the U.S.
So let me tell you why
either derived or based off or still practices some form of racism or discrimination. Every system
Let me tell you
that
why
you
I
can
say
think
that.
of.
It's because I said that because we get too distracted. Like when they was complaining about the Oscars, I didn't have a voice. I was yelling and and I still don't really have a voice now, but I was yelling at the fucking television screen like, bro, make your own fucking award show. Like why are we so fucking dependent and wanting to do everything that they want to do? It irritates me. Okay, they want their own. What I'm saying is, if they made a HWCU, you know what I'm saying? We gonna, bro, it's gonna bend all our people out of shape, and it's like, bro, why do you fucking care?
The
And
problem,
we got our own HBCU. So why do you give a fuck? Why do we get to look at it from a warrior's point of view, right?
Cobra.
Listen. Why the fuck do we get to have our own college and they don't get to have theirs?
Okay,
That wouldn't bring no kind of resentment.
I can
That's
explain
not
it from
an
a
accurate
warrior's point of view.
statement. That's not an accurate statement because historically colleges were white from the beginning. They always had a white. They just didn't term it
They wasn't called historically white colleges.
because they didn't term it historically white. But if you listen to what I said, they
but
had
to your
many
Mansa Musa
colleges.
point, it needs to be a
If
system.
they
right?
had colleges that denied black people or people of color from coming in, that means it's historically white. It didn't have a label historically white. But if you say,
But
hey,
I
if
thought
you
that
say,
was called
hey, I have a
Harvard.
college in
your Mansa
Iowa,
Musa
and I
point, you
never
said that they had a system, that he was moving like a capitalist, but he didn't have a system. We have a system of having your own college based on color.
No.
So now that we have a
Did
system, how come they can't have
listen?
theirs?
Because did you listen to what I said historically black colleges? Historically black colleges do not deny other races.
I
The
agree with
other
that.
colleges deny people of color from attending their schools.
How come they can't have a historically white college where they don't deny? Why
Because
can't
they're
called Harvard.
already historically white. They're already historically white. It's historically white. It just doesn't have a label.
Do
So
you at least understand how that would bring resentment, though?
It's not
if
resentment if you understand the concept.
No, look at it. Look, if you was a white man and we get to watch these people have their own fucking college where they get to show their pride, where they call it historically black, and me and you can't even call nothing historically white without being labeled a racist, wouldn't that breed some kind of resentment?
No, that's just ignorance because historically black colleges, every last one of them are owned by Europeans. They're not owned by.
And some of the historically black colleges is too.
That just means it's just enrolled. That's all it means. It's in an environment where there's predominantly black students. That's all it means. That most of the attendance of the students are black students. It does not mean 99% of the colleges and universities in the USA are owned by Europeans. So let me get that straight. If they're all owned by Europeans, it's just, that's like saying you put a college on Princeton, since we are from Chicago. If you put a college on Princeton, on 55th and Princeton, most of the students that's going to attend are black students. But who built that college and university was some European. All it's saying is they don't refuse all the other people from Calumet or Evanston or any other student that want to attend. It's just, hey, the school is on 54th and Princeton. All the black kids in the area decided.
But it was built with black people in mind, is what you're saying.
It was built in that location
because it's called historically black.
Because that's who attended. That's not who. But like I said, they do not refuse any other person. They have shown some white Caucasians that go to those that was into that school, have went and graduated.
So
it's
basically, basically it's like BET. BET is black entertainment owned by white people.
I mean, if we wanted to use a Chicago example, Telshi Yeshiva is 100% enrollment of white people. So is the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco is all white students.
Okay.
There's like
I
a
never
list
even
of
heard
them
of
here.
these schools.
I've heard of Telshi.
What else? Daymore College in Jackson, Ohio is 100% enrollment that are white kids.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like a bunch of them here. A lot of them are in New York, oddly enough.
Right. So I'm saying, like, the problem is you just having a white school. The problem is when you deny the access to any other person. So like you said, like your school in Jacksonville, you said Florida or Ohio?
Jackson, Ohio.
Okay, so Jackson, Ohio. If they didn't deny, I'm not saying this school in particular, but historically they did not access an enrollment from other people of color. They just said, no, this is a white school, you don't belong here. That's what I have a problem with.
You guys keep saying, so that's not even my point about who can go and who can't go. Like the historically black colleges are not turning down any other race. If you want to come here and learn what we're teaching these predominantly black students, then come on. I'm saying, how come white people can't have the same thing? Like it's just like it's racial stereotypes to us and our teachings. Why can't you go to historically white college and you learn how to ride a fucking John Deere and learn about how Egyptians are fucking pale skin and all of this other shit?
That's all of history. That's all the schools do. All schools are the whitewashed version of history.
Yeah, that is true.
That's every school. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know.
I couldn't believe, like, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. I want to finish the video, but I really could believe when I was with Mr. Fife, and I'm like, y'all don't know that Egyptians are my colors? And then one of our friends was like, no, we got the technology. It's already been
Now,
proven they was more
I
like
didn't
my color.
I didn't argue with you on that fact.
Yeah,
The
we argued
only-
about something else.
The only thing I argued with was that
When I said most black guys feel the way I feel.
yeah, and I said no. If the roles were reversed, you said that black people would never enslave white people, and I told you that was probably false.
Mm-hmm.
And you said no, black people don't think like that. All my friends say they don't think like that. And I said, how would you know?
All right, what's the question? I'll tell you what I think.
Okay.
I'm an asshole.
What we talked about was if the roles were reversed in the mid 1800s, would black people, if the roles were reversed, would black people ever think about enslaving white people if they had the chance to?
What they think about it, probably.
And Vino says,
I honestly
no,
think
all of my friends say they never would. And I said, I feel like that's not true.
I think they would enslave the opposing tribes because that's how they were at that time. They were like tribal.
Mind you, in our scenario, by the way, the black people you wouldn't have knowledge of what had happened to black people.
Right. I think their version
with the
of
knowledge
slavery
you
will
won't
be
say
very
yes.
different. I think their version of slavery will be different. It will be kind of like from what I know, which could be wrong, when they enslaved another tribe, they were like subservient, but they still were people. Like they were like indentured servants more than slaves. Like when African tribes enslaved other African tribes, they were like indentured servants. They had to work under the other people, but they weren't treated like animals. So I think had Africa been the superpower that spread out, I think the version of slavery would have been different. And I think there were so many people in Africa, they probably would have been other Africans, not necessarily.
So your answer is yes, you think black people would enslave white people.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't saying
I wasn't saying
that's what the question is.
I wasn't arguing.
I'm saying there was more than enough black people to start building America.
Let me say it another way. If the roles can be reversed, if we had a chance to keep white folks from getting certain jobs and and do police brutality on them, do you think we would take that option?
Right now?
No. We don't have no knowledge of it being fucking slavery and racism in the future. We just see white people. Do you think we'll see white people be like, you know what? I want to breed them like they're fucking animals and throw 10 bales of hay on one of their fucking back or pull them over and throw drugs at their car and throw them in jail? Do you think black people have that kind of mind?
That's a very hard question to answer, mainly because you're in two different time frames. You're throwing bales of hay on people, and
And
you're
put
putting
people in
drugs
jail.
on them. I'm like, this is a lot. This is a lot.
Because the reason why I said it like
I
that,
don't know what happened.
the reason, because I remember me and his
The
me and his,
reason we argued is because he said that a predominantly black society wouldn't even blink an
care.
eye, care or blink an eye at white people, and I'm
Because
saying
my point,
I
my
kind of
my
agree with Cobra on that.
my,
I
my
don't
point.
think blacks would if the roles were reversed, they wouldn't have thought to base slavery just on the pigmentation of something skin color.
Think about when a white person moved to our neighborhood. We don't give a fuck. These motherfuckers will have a town meeting if we moved in their neighborhood. We don't. My point, because we were speaking on some very touchy shit, me and Mr. Fife. I was speaking on how, like, I admit, white folks, and Mr. Fife has even said it. I believe one thing white folks have over black people is their ruthlessness. But one thing I think about them is this their biggest weakness is their insecurity. And what I was trying to point out to him is black people don't care enough about y'all to even be like in an uproar that you moved in the neighborhood. Y'all, on the other hand, want to have town meetings and throw crosses on the fucking, and he like, that's, you can't say that. If given the opportunity, if you was in power, you'd do that. And I'm like, no, the fuck we wouldn't. I've been around black people all my life. We just don't give a fuck about y'all like that.
No. What I said was that we couldn't tell what would happen because it was in a different time frame where me and you don't have the mind that we have now. Because obviously, if things were reversed, it's an alternate reality.
Right.
And what I said was, who knows, from one of those timelines, black people could have ended up enslaving white people. And you found that like an impossible theory.
I do, because if you look at the things that has happened between black and white people, even though most people will look at us as the victims, right, of the carnage and atrocities that white people put us through, even with that in play, white people still on our ass, caring about everything that we do, not wanting us to work with them, live with them, blah blah blah. And with all of that history, if a white person move in our neighbor, and it might be a problem with black people, maybe we should care, but we just like, okay, it's a white person live next door. What the fuck you want me to do? We're not going to a town meeting, or
we're not talking about town meetings. We're saying in an alternate reality.
But I'm basing
crazy timeline.
Let me say it a different way. I'm basing what I'm saying on what's going on now, with the evidence that I have from the past that actually happened and in the present now. We never gave a fuck. You're a white person. If you moved in Chicago on Princeton, you know what's gonna happen to you, Mr. Fife? We're gonna give you a fucking nickname. And that's it. We're gonna give you some kind of nickname, and as long as you cool, we cool. You understand? My time where you're at, when I opened my own business, I was getting bot spam by racist white motherfuckers, inbox, putting my record up for the public to see, all kind of shit. We just not gonna go through all of that because we don't have enough hate in us as a group. Not everybody. I'm not speaking for every single soul. I'm saying as a group, we don't have enough hate for your presence, your mere presence, to vex us enough to go through all of that. Not with all of us. Sure, you can find some racist white, because I believe everybody can be racist. Dr. Umar don't believe that. A lot of other people don't believe that. But majority, you don't find many black people tripping on white folks unless they tripping on them.
All right, so my original stance was actually with Mr. Fife. I was like, if we're talking about,
I'm sorry. One more thing, to be fair, because I don't want this to sound like I'm pandering pandering to white folks or making them like black people benevolent. Now, if we talking about black people on black people, that's another fucking story. Now, for each other, we got all the time in the world, but we don't generally give a fuck about y'all like that. But go ahead.
All right, so originally I was with Mr. Fife. I was like, because we didn't nail down a timeline, it's really hard to know. Like, if it was when slavery started,
That's what we were talking about.
Only it started from Africa instead of from Europe, then I don't think we would have gone out of our way to Europe to grab a bunch of people to bring to America. That seems a little silly. If we're talking about now,
we was never talking about now. I threw that up.
Our mindset is very different. So there's no telling, like, had slavery never happened, how we would think.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look back at actual history, from which could may be wrong or may not be wrong, I don't really know. But from the things that I've seen and read about and experienced, I don't have any actual. You have to look it up yourself whether or not it's true. But from what I've read, people from Africa actually went into Europe and helped teach them, like, how to separate the animals from where they live.
The Moors.
So that they didn't, because they were getting diseases and stuff because they were living amongst the animals, and that caused diseases with all the cross-contamination with their food and the animals and all of that stuff. Mansa Musa, who he mentioned earlier, actually traveled through all of Africa and into Europe, carrying gold and spreading it out and stuff like that. If you look at stuff like if you look at that portion of history, it doesn't seem like they could have just went in there and been like, oh, we got slaves, and taken them then if they were into slavery, like, from that point of view. So when I started thinking about that, I was like, probably not. Like, probably they wouldn't have gone there to get slaves to bring to America to use as beasts of burden. I don't see it. My original thought was actually aligned with Fife, but the more I thought about it, I ended up back with Coke.
We had plenty of time to do it. Like, even when once, like you said, people can look it up for themselves. Before religion even hit and was a big thing with different cultures, the Europeans wrote in their books that the Africans eat with the gods. We taught them how to pray over their food and stuff like that. They didn't even know it was a such thing as God. That was a perfect opportunity to turn your ass into a slave. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you came over here, like, but it didn't happen.
And like I kind of tried to say, I'm not disagreeing with you guys.
Mhm.
And Caritas's point was really well done.
Mhm.
What I'm saying is, in like a super alternate world timeline, it could have happened. Don't think it would happen, but it could have happened.
Well, in a multiverse, it's possible.
And that's what I was talking about.
Right, but like, again, you was asking me, because the whole back and forth me and you had was, how can I say that? And I'm like, bro, we talk about this. You see how many times racism and shit like that then came up just from you doing a podcast with us for a little under a year? Imagine a lifetime of this shit. Nobody has ever said, the one guy who does say, I was enslaved, now I do this and that, it's like he's been arrested 20 times for shit he didn't do. You know what I'm saying? He just got fired from his job and a young white guy got picked over him. Like, of course he's saying that. You know what I'm saying? But most of the time, you don't really hear black people tripping on white people like that. Like I said, it seemed like you didn't like the town meeting analogy, but
that didn't bother me.
Oh, okay. Sabius and Caritas, when last time y'all heard or been to a town meeting about some new white guy moving in?
Like I said, what Caritas said, historically, Africans they had slaves, but they never did it in a way based off of skin pigmentation. That is more of a European concept. And then what Caritas' point before was, the slaves historically were more closer to like indentured service. They believed them as people, but they never, they just didn't have all the same rights, so they worked, long hours and stuff. The modern day concept of slavery with pigmentation is more of it makes sense when I think about it. It's like an outlier. It's the way you can define who should be the slave. So it makes sense. And don't give me a lot of flack. I understand why they use skin pigmentation. It was easy to identify who was the slaves and who were not. Because I think before all that, it's like, you know, you had to have paperwork, or somebody had to have property, or you had to have some degree of, well, who's the master, who's the slave? So I understand from a logical standpoint. Now, I'm not saying that I agree with slavery, so let me just make that clear. But I'm
I'm
just
pretty
saying,
sure somebody's gonna misunderstand us in this conversation.
You just brand them. You just brand the shoulder with burning hot iron.
Man,
How
I
hard is
already know
that?
by the end when this is published, we're gonna get,
They will be
Mr.
like,
Fife believes in this and he's a racist this, and it's not even what I was
No,
getting at.
they gonna think I'm pandering to white people, which I'm not.
Historically inaccurate this, but I don't
Hey,
care. Hey,
most
I gave my disclaimers. I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck neither. First of all, I'm a person who believed in most stereotypes when it comes to white people, black people, men and women. I believe most of them are true any fucking way.
A lot. A
I
lot of them
believe a
are.
lot of white motherfucking men are racist and don't even understand what they talking about or even what they thinking. I believe a lot of black men want to fucking kill me just for fucking existing and coming to their neighborhood. I believe a lot of shit. I believe a white officer pulls me over because I'm fucking black and he's white. I believe a black officer pulls me over because he's showing off for the fucking white man and he feel like, you know, I'm not the same thing as he. Like, I believe a lot of shit that you
Trying
ain't
to
gonna
prove he's
fucking
blue
like.
and not black.
Yeah, I believe a lot of shit you're not gonna agree with. I'm not here to kiss nobody ass or pander to nobody.
yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of us. You know, we can still have a conversation. We can agree, we can disagree, but we still brothers. That's all it is in the end. Now, I don't believe in the whole thing what Cobra said as far as the stereotypes. I think Umar, I do think there are a lot of people that are racist on both sides, black, white, Hispanic, whatever race you want to call it. So I do think there's racism in every race.
That's true. I
Now,
mean, Cobra just called me a bunny not 15 minutes ago.
Ash actually calls you a snow bunny, but
y'all was just eating
Get it
lunch
right.
together.
Yeah, y'all are eating lunch.
but we both racist.
I do, but then, you know, it depends on everybody's definition of racism, and then people tend to throw like discrimination and things. Now, I do disagree with discrimination. I don't think, as a whole, black people can discriminate. I do think black people can be racist though. So
See, I think that's gonna be a big problem with me, you know, being off into this content creators world, because one thing that I notice is a big cardinal sin is not choosing a master, not choosing a side. And you got on one side using the discrimination. For example, you have on one side where you know, stereotypical, the white guy or white woman is supposed to hire the white person because they white over the black person. Then you got the black guy who's doing the hiring, or black woman who's doing the hiring. You're supposed to hire another black person because we're supposed to stick together. And then there's me, who's like, I don't give a fuck about none of that. Which one of y'all do the job the best? This is what we're gonna figure out. And now I look like an asshole because I said that.
All right, wait. So I actually had a conversation similar to this like 2 days ago. I'll just ask the question. So you have two candidates, right? You have a white female and you have a black man, right? They both have equal qualifications. They're both equally skilled. They're both good with customer service, all of that. Who do you hire?
The man. I don't have to pay paternity leave if she gets pregnant.
That's a good point.
me personally, whoever interviewed the best.
They interview equally.
Everything's equal. Well, I'll wait to say what I got to
say. Depending on the job, yeah, it depends on the job.
That's a very good answer.
Is it physical? If the job is physical and you have to lift shit, then you would hire the man, right?
say it. Oh, so sales is bad because you
Who
gotta
can I
hire
hire
one
at the
for sales.
cheapest rate?
Same price.
I was thinking I would what my thinking was is who was ever better for the job, like basically almost what Sabius was saying.
Say it's an accountant.
Curtis said
I'm
they were
hiring a
equal.
woman.
Why?
I think women are better with money.
I disagree with that, but okay.
I think
Okay, Fabian.
I think
You don't think women are better with
both
money?
No,
are.
not
I
at
think
all.
they're both.
Maybe
could
better
be
with somebody else's money, but they're terrible with their own money. God damn.
I think they
But what are
both
we
could be
talking
equal.
about? We talking about accounting somebody
Right.
else's money.
Well, I don't know how they are with other people's money, but I've seen firsthand what they do to their own money. Not great.
At the points that you've given laying out for stipulations, I would hire, I guess, whoever I vibe with the most.
That's the point. You're gonna hire who you're comfortable being around. I don't know. I've been around white people. I've been around females. I've been around white females. But I am comfortable as shit around black dudes. I'm just saying. So if I'm hiring somebody and everything else is equal, I'm gonna hire the person I'm comfortable with. That doesn't make me sexist and it doesn't make me racist. And I said that to say it's very hard to know why anybody hires anybody.
Mr. Fife, our file got corrupted, so this conversation wasn't recorded. But didn't you just say you went through something like that, where a guy didn't hire you because he didn't vibe with you or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I can agree with all that, but what Kara's question was, he asked, from what I gather specifically, which one would you hire? So that's going to be open to everyone's individual preference or choice.
If I'm not going to be in the office with the person, I would hire, I would probably, most likely I would hire a woman because I'm just hiring you. I'm not there with you every day. And, but I'm not going to lie. When you speak of comfortability, if I had to be by your side every day, I probably would be more comfortable with a man. With a woman, you don't want to say nothing that's, inappropriate.
There's so many landmines. There's so many landmines.
Yeah.
You might go, oh, you look nice today. Sexual harassment.
I was just about to say, you know what I was thinking? I was imagining me telling her, like, as long as you do the things that you need to do to make it to the top, you'll be okay.
That's it. That's a wrap for you.
I was thinking more so you doing a good job, not a blow job. Like,
right.
Wait.
Well, me, honestly, I wouldn't. I don't think that way. I would give her the benefit of that. Now, if she gave me the wrong vibe, like during the interview, but Kara said they both interviewed the same. So I'm going into this thing like she didn't give me the vibe that she would say sexual abuse or take it the wrong way.
Right. My point was like you're gonna hire who you're comfortable talking with because you don't have to worry about landmines. Like right. I would be very skeptical, and this might be the wrong thing to say, but I would be very skeptical hiring somebody who is trans. And it's not because I hate trans people. I don't have any problem with trans people. I think everybody should live whatever life they want. But if I come in and I'm like,
they're a logistical nightmare. A friend of mine told me that.
Right. If I'm leaving work, if I'm leaving work and I'm like, all right, guys, take it easy. And she's like, what do you mean, guys? It's like, God damn it.
Yeah, he said they walking on eggshells.
Yeah, like I'm like it's that's not something I actually had that happen to me. It wasn't somebody I worked with, but I went to a shop. I hung out with some guys. I was hanging out. We were all drinking, and it was a trans person there, and I legitimately didn't care. Like I don't care how people live their life. But as I was leaving, I was like, "All right, guys, take it easy." And then it hit me like, "Oh my God!" I said, "All right, guys," and I looked back, and they were definitely looking at me like, "What do you mean, guys?" They didn't say it, but like they looked horrified, and I'm like, "Fuck!"
That happened to me in my store.
Nice.
That happened to me in my store with two parents and a kid, and I kept saying her, and they was like, well, he likes to be called a him, and I was like, oh, my bag or whatever. But it just so happened that it was two gay women there, and they was like, don't feel bad about it. You shouldn't apologize for it. And I was like, why you say that? And it's like, Cause that motherfucker's presenting as a woman, feminine as hell. But and that's another thing. Like that's another thing I hope we're gonna do with our podcast. Like society has it where they make it like everybody think one way. Like with like the example that you used, I'll be around gay people who will be like, man, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't fucking apologize. Don't fucking you would have said that in any other normal situation. Say it now. We
But
want
that's
to be
that's what equality should be.
Mhm.
I'm myself, you're yourself. We both make concessions so that everybody's comfortable. But me being just the person that I am and trying to be good should be enough. Like, you know, I didn't say, all right, guys, hey, guy. Like, you know, I didn't do that. So why would you get all offended?
I
You
see
what
a
I'm
lot.
saying?
I see a lot of that kind of shit with our people. Like when people apologize, like they may say something like, you know, if I fish, so they like, so a white person may be like, oh, I can't be out there all day with you people. Now I know you people mean you fishermen who sit outside all
Right.
like to be outside all
Yeah.
day. But then they're apologetic and like, well, I didn't mean it like that. And I'm like, all right, listen, we don't have to do all that. I know
Right.
you didn't mean it like that.
You're
I'll
like,
be
I'm a
cursing your
normal person.
motherfucking ass out if
Right.
you meant it like that.
What do you mean, you people?
Man.
Hey,
That just
Leon,
brought
did
back
you
Tropic
say
Thunder.
Yeah.
did you say that this file got corrupted already?
No.
Oh, okay.
We're on now. No. I was saying that the file got corrupted when you were talking about the guy who didn't. What did he say to you?
It was a bunch of like this backwards kind of shit. Like the easiest way to put it was like he didn't vibe with me, but he just wouldn't like come out and say he didn't vibe with me.
Mm-hmm. Which goes into care at this point. You're gonna hire who you vibe with. But that's if you're gonna be around the person.
Right.
Well, eventually you're probably gonna have to run into.
But we
I
should
mean, if
probably
I
finish
thought
this
you was a
video, eh?
fucking asshole, but you was good for the company, and I was thinking to myself like, well, he an asshole, but he gonna tighten up everything. Oh, I don't like the way that sounds. But he's a jerk.
He's an asshole, but he's
Yo,
gonna
tighten up
tighten up.
everything.
I
Oh,
ain't catching it
pause.
until you
Hey
stop
yo,
yourself.
hey yo, pause. But if
I'm good.
he's
An asshole, but he gonna
jerk,
tighten
and I don't
up.
even like using jerk, but if he's that kind of person, he or she, but they're gonna tighten up the company, and I'm not gonna be here because I may think to myself, like, man, I want to hire Mr. Fight for this position, but I don't want me and him bumping heads because we're gonna be around each other more often than not. But then I get to thinking, like, well, you know what? I ain't gonna even be here. Shit, you fucking hired. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, do the job that I'm hiring you for. I'm not looking for a pal. I'm looking for an employee.
But like, even like, basically, I would say that's more of a reason that affirmative action should exist. Because if you're more likely to hire somebody you're comfortable with, and one type of people have a lot of the power positions, then there should be a quota for who you hire.
Could one say that it's okay to go to school with who you comfortable with as well? I was just playing. I ain't gonna go down that rabbit hole again.
To come up with that on the spot.
So how did you end up with the Caucasian? No disrespect to her.
No, not at all. What I'm telling you is the places that I go socially are not just monolithic.
So what? I went to a white college, white job. I never bunny hopped.
Listen to my question.
Dr. Umar Johnson has Ish right where he wants him. Because instead of Ish saying, I'm dating a white girl because I want to date a white girl, Ish says, I'm dating a white girl because in the spaces I was in, there wasn't enough black women there for me to find one, which is obviously a lie, right? Like, yeah, bro, like you live in Jersey or New York, bro, there's enough black women there. But the argument shouldn't be, yo, I'm dating a white girl because there weren't enough black girls around. It should be, I'm dating a white girl because I want to date a white girl, and that has nothing to do with my loyalty to the black race. So Umar Johnson is just intellectually running a race around Ish, and he's trying hard to keep up, but it's just moving too fast for him.
Let me answer you. That wasn't my priority. My priority wasn't, yo, I'm not closed off to dating Latino women. I'm not closed off to dating Asian women. I'm not closed off to dating white women. So again, in my search for romance, all of those things were on the table.
But you
for
do
me.
understand that by not being with a black woman, you undermine the success of the black community.
That's your opinion.
That's my opinion. Then tell me how the black community benefits from you having a white woman.
You let him
if
shove
I
those
lend
words in
to
his
the
mouth.
financial
Uplifting?
uplifting of that community, one, that's one thing. Two, if I'm helping to educate the people in that particular community, that's a benefit.
Does not your white woman benefit more from your economics than any black person?
Yeah, probably.
Exactly.
So why can't they both be mutually beneficial?
You want to know why? Because she belongs to the group that is responsible for the historical oppression of your race.
So
why would you voluntarily go over and marry into that? Because when you marry the woman, you don't just marry the woman or date the woman. You're dating her community and her culture.
So
and given the history of us and them, why would you dare align yourself with that if you care about us?
Let me ask you a question. I want you to let me get my answers out.
Umar started cooking too much, bro. This man is
That was
Umar Johnson.
that was a mouthful. After this, we getting off this shit. But go ahead.
I would have been like, if that's the case, you didn't marry your woman's kids. You got what, 2, 3 baby mamas that you not taking
He
care
didn't
of.
marry his children's mother.
Yeah. I'd have been like, hold on. If you want to talk about me, I'll take care of my kids. My kids, they get their money. I see them,
Can I admit
married?
Can I admit something to you, bro?
What's up?
You brought up on the file that got corrupted, you brought up his kids, right? On there.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that motherfucker had kids until you said that.
By black women who, that's fine, you support, whatever. But he didn't marry them. And supposedly he not really taking care of them. That's what I hear. Now I don't know how true that is.
Well, you know how that go.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, you want to talk about stereotypes. That's another conversation, about how we don't we never take care of our kids once the breakup happened.
And the statistics have come out that generally speaking, a lot of black men take care of their kids more than any other race. They found that statistically to be true. Although the stereotype and the narrative is black dudes don't take care of their kids, but statistically it's found out that that's not true. So, but
we know that. I've been in your life forever, but
no, bitch. Yeah, I would be like, hold on, like the dude said, Umar is like just straight up. He just got this dude against the wall, man. This dude should have just bowed out.
I wouldn't say Umar is more intelligent though. I would just say he's a better debater. He knows the game better.
Yeah.
Like, dude just sat there and let Umar just stick words in his mouth and accepted it. Like, you never do that. Don't tell me what I think. I'll tell you what I think. Like, what the fuck?
What are you talking about? What did he say?
Rewind it a few seconds ago. He was like, what you're saying is this, and this, and then the dude accepted it.
You understand that by not being with a black woman, you undermine the success of the black community.
That's your opinion.
That's my opinion. Then tell me how the black community benefits from you having a white woman.
If I lend to the financial
uplifting
of that community, one, that's one thing. Two, if I'm helping to educate the people.
He wants them. Because instead of Ish saying, I'm dating a white girl because I want to date a white girl, Ish says, I'm dating a white girl because in the spaces I was in, there wasn't enough black women there for me to find one, which is obviously a lie, right? Like, yeah, bro, like you live in Jersey or New York, bro, there's enough black women there. But the argument shouldn't be, yo, I'm dating a white girl because there weren't enough black girls around. It should be, I'm dating a white girl because I want to date a white girl, and that has nothing to do with my loyalty to the black race. So Umar Johnson is just intellectually running a race around Ish, and he's trying hard to keep up, but it's just moving too fast for him.
Let me answer you. That wasn't my priority. My priority wasn't, yo, I'm not closed off to dating Latino women. I'm not closed off to dating Asian women. I'm not closed off to dating white women. So again, in my search for romance, all of those things were on the table.
But you do understand that by not being with a black woman, you undermine the success of the black community.
That's your opinion.
That's my opinion. Then tell me how the black community benefits from you having a white woman.
Or not. All that shit he just said, he was saying, this is your opinion. The reason you think the way you think is because you decided, I'm not closed off to white women. I mean, I'm not closed off to Latino women. I'm not closed off. He's just basically saying, this is your stance. This is what you think. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He asked and answered.
And then he said, this is your opinion. Like, he told him that was his opinion. Like, what the fuck? No, it's not.
You know what that let me know about Dr. Umar? what I've been knew before I knew. He's a fucking Leo.
You son of a bitch.
Nah,
You
I'm
gotta be
gonna
tearing down Leo like that.
Hey, hey, y'all got Umar, we got Trump and Kanye. Like, whoops.
I ain't got shit.
both fucking crazy.
I'll take Umar over.
Both
I
crazy.
think we got the win. I think we got the win. If this is a comparison,
Hey, let me tell you something. If I was rich,
Umar ain't crazy.
I know this to be a fact. I'm not even cracking a joke. If I was rich, when I heard Kanye say that he has autism, I would have torn my whole fucking studio up. That's how irritated I was by him saying that.
I was like, I already know he's bipolar though. What? Not autism. I like, oh,
Well, I got Elton John, I guess.
well, the
what's your
problem,
Elton John's dope. He
the
got
problem with
Elton John.
autism is like, if you're a hypochondriac, like you go online and you do your own like self-diagnosis and stuff, you'll find things about like autistic, the spectrum that do fit you. Like everybody can do that. So my guess is he probably really thinks he is, but he's never went and got tested. So.
I just really wish he'd stop saying it.
Yeah.
It pisses me off. Like it's almost the equivalent for me as a person who hasn't been SA'd, lying about being SA, trying to hide under the umbrella of actual victims. Like I think it feels like he's using it as a shield.
Yeah, the thing about like mental disorders is most people, I won't say all, but most people aren't out there advertising their issues.
Yeah.
Like what reason would you have to be like, and I'm autistic? It's like
he just said it again recently. Like
yeah, I'm like there's no reason for you to do that unless you have some like agenda. Like why are you saying these things?
And if you're using autism
I don't
as
know
a
why
shield,
you even take Kanye West serious. I haven't taken that man serious in like 15, 20 years. I don't know. I'm like, this is fucking bipolar.
How the fuck do you go from Bush don't care about black people to fucking go Trump go?